one. Hello everyone, back again with me, Salsabila. Today we have a special guest, a female warrior who is part of the National Commission for Women of Republic of Indonesia, Nurul Fauzia. Hello, Ms. Nurul.
Hello, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you here, by the way. Finally, we meet again after a long time. Okay, since Nurul Fauzia has been with us, I will go straight to it. Our discussion this time will arise the theme of sexual violence. Speaking of sexual violence in Indonesia, actually, according to the data of the National Commission for Women, where is Indonesia's positions and what's your opinion about that, Ms. Nurul?
Okay, today, 64% of women in Indonesia have experienced sexual harassment and or violence. Even in Indonesia, the number of cases has increased by 700% since 2012. Many acts of violence and harassment occur both in public place and in the domestic sphere. The COVID pandemic throughout 2020 has also increased the number of sexual violence. As of the first 5 months of the pandemic, National Commission for Women received a report of 461 cases of sexual violence. Until now, Indonesia ranked second for the last country for women.
Wow, Indonesia is in position first place as the least safe country for women, right? Wow, that's terrible. By the way, Ms. Nurul, this figure is taken from how many countries has been researched before?
This based on research by an Singapore research firm, there are a total 14 countries in the Asian Pacific region studied, and as a result, Indian, Indonesian, and Philippines are considered the last countries for women.
Wow, this is interesting for me. With the second highest predicate as a country that isn't safe for women, but after we review it, our team review it, there are still many victims of sexual violence who don't dare to speak up about this. Why? I mean, why the victims don't want to speak up about this incident, Ms. Nurul?
Okay. First, let's talk about this from the perspective of the individual victims of violence. Experience of sexual violence, whenever it's from, is very traumatic for the victim. And we all know that dealing with that and having the courage to communicate the trauma is not easy matter. Moreover, in Indonesia, the culture of the people still makes virginity a good measure for the badness of a woman. If it is known that she is no longer a virgin, then a woman will be, if it is known that she is no longer a virgin, then a woman will be considered a sinner and will badly restituted. This is what makes the victim even more hesitant to accept themselves and dare to speak up. Second, the response from the community to the victim. The majority of Indonesians will blame the victim in case of sexual violence. They will question the victim's work and even judge the clothes. If he dares to report the perpetrator of sexual violence in the office, for example, the victim will only get criticism that his action have finished the good name of the company. Lastly, there is no firm legal umbrella for this event. There is no legal statute that truly protects the victim sexual assault. I don't need to explain or there is not real justice for the victim from an external party and how raging inside the victim is to accept and defend the traumatized side.
So without any guarantee of security from external parties and the internal turmoil of individual victim itself is the most basic reason why there are still many victims, especially as in the remote areas who don't want to report these cases what happened before, right?
Yes, of course.
So Ms. Nurul, this phenomenon of sexual violence in Indonesia, it's like an iceberg phenomenon. Even though National Commission for Women has released the number of victims of sexual violence in Indonesia, far below, there are still very many, even worse than on the surface. According to the National Commission for Women data, there were around 200,099 and 90,111 female victims of sexual violence reported cases throughout 2020. And this just on the surface, right? We never know how terrible the cases are that are still being covered up. But Ms. Nurul, by the way, Ms. Nurul, speaking of female victims, is sexual violence a threat to only one gender only? What's about your opinion about that?
For me, anyone can be a victim, regardless of gender. Everyone can become a victim. But why do the media and the environment around us have data only for women? Actually, this concept is the same as why victims of sexual violence do not want to report what happened. Well, if the case of the victim of violence against men is adapted to the shadow of patriarchy and toxic masculinity that exists in him. Toxic masculinity makes it seem as if man's self-esteem is above woman, and if the man becomes a victim of sexual violence, it will destroy his self-esteem. Toxic masculinity and patriarchy demand that man should not have weak emotion such as crime and affection, doing domestic work and weak activities that must be done by women. If a man becomes a victim, then he will be seen as a weak and less man. That
Wow, from your explanation, I'm interested with this topic so bad actually. The cases of sexual violence is a threat for all gender, not exception. Everyone can be a victim, and that your opinion above. Okay, Ms. Nurul, this is the last question. Is marrying the perpetrator and victim, if the victim is pregnant, is the final solution for this case? So what should people pay attention to reduce case of sexual violence in Indonesia, in your opinion, Ms. Nurul?
basically rape is an incident where there is not agreement between the two. Rape is an act of forcing sexual intercourse without the consent of both parties. So far, it is clear that why is the solution only by marrying both parties? Will will it be controlled by getting married or Indonesian culture being responsible for the incident? Will the victim feel okay, but mentally and physically? Actually, I don't understand what the essence of marrying the victim and the perpetrator of rape is. With such a sentiment, the predator will take refuge behind the marriage and escape from legal entanglement. And then after the baby is born, the predator may sue for divorce from his wife, who incidentally is the victim. Nothing is over with marrying of perpetrator and victim of sexual violence. Perpetrator will act violently and will lead to potential domestic violence as well. What should we do? Of course, we have to be empathetic. Victims are victims, they cannot be reversed. The second is absolutely the state must pass the legal umbrella to protect victims of sexual violence.
Oh. I'm speechless actually because I absolutely agree with that opinion. And as a woman, I understand more and more about this recurring problem. I'm getting more and passionate about promoting gender equality to reduce sexual violence and so on and so on. By the way, thank you, Ms. Nurul, for coming today. I'm so glad you accepted this event, this invitation for me. Okay, for everyone, I'm closing this event. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you.